Today we're going to talk about addition and subtraction property of equality. So let's start with addition property. If a segment is added to two congruent segments, the sums are congruent. So for example, if we do have a congruent segment here, let's say segment AB is congruent to segment CD, so that means that, so therefore if we do add another angle, not angle, but another segment. So let's say the segment that we do add is line segment BC. That will also equals to the sum of line segment CD and line segment BC. So this thing will create a new line segment, and that is going to be line segment. Let's say then it will create a line segment AC, which is therefore congruent to line segment BD. So that is the addition property. If a segment is added to two congruent segments, the sums are congruent. So therefore, we have this. Okay, now let's put some numbers here so we can illustrate this. So we do say that line segment AB is congruent to line segment CD, meaning in definition, they do have the same length. So let's say AB is 5, CD is 5 also. And then we're going to put a line segment BC, which is, let's say, it's 2. So we're going to add 2 to both equations. So we got this thing. Then therefore it will become 7, which is in definition that it will create another line segment, which is line segment AC and line segment BD, and therefore they are congruent to each other. They are both 7 and 7. Now let's talk about the addition property in angle. If an angle is added to two congruent angles, then the sums are congruent. So let's say we have this thing that we created here. So let's say angle ACB is congruent to angle BCE. So if we're going to add another angle, let's add angle BCE. Okay, we're going to write the definition of congruent. So here let's add angle BCE. Angle BCE, there you have it. And then in the right side, we're going to add angle PCE also. Okay, so we have this thing. So the sum of this is just basically will be another congruent angle. So therefore, it will become angle ACE, which is the sum of angles ACB and angle BCE, and thereby they are congruent. So angle ACE is congruent to angle DCB, which then created. And now let's put some numbers. Let's say angle ACB and angle DCE are 70 degrees, and let's say angle BCE is 40 degrees. So we all know that angle CB, ACB is equals to angle CDE because they are congruent to each other, meaning 70 is equal to 70, and we're going to add another angle. So this thing, we're going to add another angle. So if we're going to take the sum of this, we will have 110 degrees, and it will create another angle, which is the angle ACE and angle DCB. So that's the addition property in angle. Let's just write it here. They are congruent, okay. Next. So this is it. They just add up. The sums are congruent. Now let's move on to subtraction property. If a segment is subtracted from congruent segments, the difference are congruent. So let's say we have a line segment AC that is congruent to line segment, let's say PD here. So they are basically congruent, and if we're going to subtract another segment, let's say it's line segment BC, we are going to subtract it to both equation. Okay, so their difference are congruent. So line segment AB is congruent to line segment DC. So that is it. Or line segment CD. Going to read it from left to right. So let's put some numbers here so we can illustrate it. So line segment AC is going to be 7. Let's say that is 7. Line segment BD is going to be 7. And line segment BC is going to be 3. So we're going to find the line segment AB using this. So we have 7 and 7. That is line segment AC is congruent to line segment BD. And we're going to subtract another line segment, which is line segment PC. And then it will create 4 and 4, which is now the new congruent segments. So there you have it. Okay, let's move on to subtraction property in angle. If an angle is subtracted to two congruent angles, then the difference are congruent. Okay, so let's say we have a congruent angle here. Let's say angle ABE is congruent to angle DBC. I just put it this and in this way. So if we're going to subtract another angle, let's say we're going to subtract angle CBE here on the both side of equation. So angle DBC minus angle CBE. So their difference will create another congruent angle. So that is going to be angle ABC is congruent to angle DBE. So as we can see here in our example, it says that angle ABC is 70 degrees, angle DBE is 70 degrees. See? So they are basically congruent. So putting some numbers, it's 110 degrees is equal to 110 degrees. We're going to subtract 40 degrees here. And then it will create 70 is equal to 70, which are angle ABC and angle DBE. So that is the subtraction property in angle. And I hope you learned something, and thank you guys for watching.